What's up, crew? We're back with another video. We're here with more questions live from Westpac for Mark. These are some of your questions. We took them all off of YouTube. So if you have any more, feel free to ask in the comments and we'll see if we can get them answered. So Mark, how you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. Good to be back on the Cleanup Crew YouTube video channel. Let's see what we can do today.
Sounds good. All right, the first question. Any tips for keeping my head still during the delivery as a two-hander, as my head tends to move to my left, I'm a righty, on the downswing right after the ball passes by my hips. I have a feeling it may be due to me using my shoulders to throw the ball, and if that's the case, is there a tip for me to correct that?
Yeah, that's actually, your self-analysis is pretty good. When I did my two-handed instructional video, this is one of the main things we talked about. So this is pretty much going to be timing. If you're throwing the ball with your shoulders, that means your shoulders are your power source, not your lower body. That always comes back to timing. When your slide foot gets flat in front of your head, your swing should be parallel. The easiest way to do that is to look more like how Jason Belmonte starts. He stays fairly tall through the beginning of his approach. He creates a real swing set with his arms, allows his body to get ahead of his swing. If you're in time, your right leg will be your power source, your shoulders be quiet. If your shoulders move, your head's got to move with it. So your self-analysis was very good.
I bowl one hand, no thumb with a four-step approach. I've watched videos of when to start your swing. They start on the first crossover step. Is this a good place to start my swing, or should I start on the second or third step?
First off, I would get ready your crossover step. I'm not a big believer in crossover steps. Think about walking. It's how you walk down the street. If the light turned green, you wouldn't put a crossover step trying to cross the street. I like cross in front. Your first step should go directly in front of it, so it stabilizes your weight of your head, the weight of your head. For people with no thumb on the ball, you're always going to have a short backswing. So if anything, I would delay your push away. Maybe at the end of your first step. When your first step is done, then push it out. Because your swing is so short, because you have no thumb on the ball, it'll fall off. You've got to get your body ahead of your swing. Backswings tend to be short. Lower body's where the power comes from. I would delay that, not that crossover, that cross in front step. I would push the ball out at the end of your first step, then make sure your feet go. And when in doubt, go watch a video of Tom Doherty.
Where, when, and how long should my eyes be on the target area of the arrows? When should I look up as I follow through to the strike area? Question mark. I'm right-handed.
That's a good one. You know, I looked at the arrows my entire bowling career, and I can tell you I never saw my ball hit the target. My eyes would always move to 30 feet. That's kind of what I did. I don't find a hard and fast rule. I just want your head to stay quiet through the bottom of your swing. So do you necessarily have to see your ball roll over the arrows? It's probably a good thing. I could always tell instinctively I hit my target, I missed a little bit in, or I missed quite a bit inside my target. Those are my three shots. So my eyes always went to 30 feet, then they went to the pins. Some people are at the arrows, some see the break point. There is no set spot for your eyes, but your head does need to remain still. And where you throw the ball, you've got to get feedback to know whether you hit your intended target or not.
Is ball weight the main reason why I can't make my follow through high enough, or at least make it to head level? It seems my swing ends after I release the ball.
That's more to do with your body balance. Remember this, there's two things at play when you throw a bowling ball. How your body functions, and there's throwing a bowling ball. Here's why pros look so easy and it looks so effortless for the pros. They maximize how their body functions while they happen to be bowling. Most amateurs are bowling in spite of how their body functions. So if your chin doesn't go past your knee, you don't get too low in your knee bend, and your head doesn't get too far forward, it's very easy for me to get my arm to go to the top. If I'm sitting in this chair and my head goes down, my arm can only go to here. So you're telling me probably that you're too far forward and your head's too low. That's a body function. My arm literally won't go up if I get down. I get my chin back on top of my kneecap. I can get a follow through to the top of my swing. And that's what I see. Make sure your body functions correctly while you're throwing a bowling ball, then you'll be in better balance and hit the target more often.
Any tips for converting from a 4-step to a 5-step approach?
I would not do that. It's very, very tricky to go from even to odd. You've seen a lot of bowlers take 6 steps. What I would do, I would go from 4 steps and go over to 6 steps. Patrick Allen, Pete Weber, Norm Duke, you would be in good company. 3 first ballot Hall of Famers right there. So why? Because you're used to starting with your right foot if you're right-handed on 4 steps. So if you go from 4 to 6, you're just going to take 2 steps, and then for momentum, rhythm, and then you start your approach, putting the ball in your swing normally in your 3rd step of a 6-step approach. So I would not go from 4 to 5. I would go from 4 to 6.
Do athletes who plant move the air forward as efficiently as those who slide?
That's a very good question. I don't get enough people who plant to really answer that question. The problem with people who plant, they tend to pull down. So their heel hits, and then they pull their swing down. So invariably they're pulling their shoulder down. There are some examples that have done it really good. Brad Angelo does it really well. Shannon Pulowski does it very well. Michael Haugen does it very well. I think those are the 3 best planters I know of, and they all get the air to move forward. All have had great careers. You know, Brad Angelo makes a show just about every week on the PBA 50. Shannon Pulowski's in the running for the Ladies Player of the Year. So there is some evidence out there they do it, but be careful. If you pull down too hard with that shoulder and you move the air down, your thumb's going to come around a little bit early. You're going to have a hard time staying behind the ball.
As a two-handed bowler, I see from videos of myself that the weight of the ball transfers over to my left hand. Hence, I'm not as under the ball as I should be just before the release, as I feel my left hand stays on the ball too long. Do you have any tips to combat this?
That is something I would have to see. You would have to take a virtual lesson and send that in to me. I've never really seen that too much. You're saying that the ball from your right hand goes into your left hand. I would have to see that in a video. So I would advise taking a virtual lesson with me and show me that. Then I would have a much better answer. Right now, because I don't run into that scenario very often, I would just be guessing, and I prefer not to do that.
What are your thoughts on a two-handed straight backswing like Kyle Troup versus a bent arm backswing like Belmo? Are there benefits to either, or do you have one that you recommend?
I would recommend the one that you can do the easiest. Obviously, there's been great success. I mean, obviously, Jason Belmonte in his own introduction, he's the best of all time at it. Kyle seems to be probably the best bowler on TV in the last 4 or 5 years. So obviously it works for Kyle. He's Hall of Fame eligible, 10 titles and some majors. He won the US Open. Obviously it's effective that way also. Most times there isn't a right way or a wrong way when it comes to something like that. It comes down to which one can you do the easiest and the most often. So that's what I would stay with.
Mark, do you have any plans on releasing a part 2 of Changing the Game?
As it stands right now, maybe. We're trying to get all the footage together. We did a sports shot one for the Baker box using Mr. Belmonte, Simonson, Daniel McEwen, and Prather. Came out pretty good. We're just trying to figure out how the editing all goes, how the talking goes. It's a very complicated process to put something together you're going to release and charge money for. So we're looking into it. We're hoping to come up with that. But for what we did, the first 2 videos, the physical game one-handed and the physical game two-handed, I'm not sure I would do anything more with that. If it'd be anything, it would be more of a sports shot, how to use the Baker box.
This is actually our last one. I take a 5-step approach. My problem is keeping my 4th power step from going out to the right and causing me to drift right. I'm a right-handed bowler. Is there a way I can correct this issue?
Yes, that is usually caused by your 3rd step. So that's why I'm a big believer of no crossover in your first 2. First step straight, 2nd step in front of it. The key is the 3rd step. The 3rd step's got to go 3, 4, maybe 5 boards left of your 2nd step. That gives your 4th step somewhere to go. If your 2nd step has a big crossover, then your 3rd step comes back in front of 2. Your 4th step has nowhere to go but the right. Then you're going to come over your shoulder, and you're not going to be able to play inside very well. So to me, to get your pivot step inside your head, not to go to the right, first 2 steps straight, a little bit more left. With the 3rd step, that allows your pivot step to drop in and you slide straight. And that is something I talk about quite a bit in my instructional videos, both for the one-hander and two-hander, the Games Change video series, which you can find on my website, markbakerbowling.com.
That'll really wrap it up for us. So, Mark, you got anything you want to tell everybody?
Everybody, I really enjoy your questions. Keep throwing them at me. I really enjoy having to think on my feet like this real fast. Just as much description as you can put in there, I will do my very best. And like I said, if I can't answer it, the best way to do it is take a virtual lesson. Again, you go to markbakerbowling.com, you click on the virtual lesson link, just follow all the prompts. And since I've been doing all the YouTube videos with the cleanup crew, the virtual lessons have definitely become more. And this is worldwide. Singapore, New Zealand, New York, New York, New York, New York, the New York bowlers. I love you guys. A lot of Illinois, a lot of Texas, a lot of Florida. I've been very popular in Malaysia lately. So obviously everybody in the world are watching these videos. I really do hope you enjoy them.
And thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch y'all next time.